We are always on the lookout for media coverage that doesn't pass the fair and balanced test. If you find an example of media bias, send it to us at newswatch@foxnews.com. Up next, are the media ignoring the dangers on the U.S. border with Mexico?
John Scott of right-wing Fox News asked for our input into media bias, then lets us know the next topic features the Republican governor of Arizona on a favorite talking point of right-wing radio. But it gets worse. Wait for the second teaser.
Back at the White House. Is the media still ignoring the threats? And is a poser at the Washington Post proof that the far-left media hacks are colluding to spin your national news? Answers next on Newswatch.
This show is about else. This is called Fox News Watch.
Right.
We talk about the media here.
Absolutely.
We compare and contrast the media and the media now.
But whining is not a one-party
We're not whining,
affair.
we're critiquing.
Not a one-party affair.
We're covering the coverage.
But answer his point. I mean, John Roberts was described as sort of a right-winger.
Now, if you believe John Scott's assumption for the program, that the so-called mainstream media is left-wing, a conservative article of faith, then his questions outwardly focused towards the mainstream media, while never looking at his own network's bias, makes sense, as does the show's fixation on trying to pressure the press and pump up the attacks to anyone on their left. Here's another example.
I don't think we're going to call the MRC the arbiter of fairness in this particular instance or any other.
All we know about her is that she likes Chinese. Fact that Barack Obama and Joe Biden voted to abstain in a resolution to support him, and now they're going to him, putting all their faith in him to win this war.
You don't want coverage.
No outlet covered that.
You don't want coverage. You want an ideological attack, and this coverage reflected two people who were getting approved with a relatively small amount of drama. The coverage would be dishonest if it carried your water.
Exactly.
All right.
But the story that really grabbed me is one I carried on my blog. The topic is Fox News not taking the Russian spy story seriously on their website. I linked to a Fox News-sourced article trivializing the issue by focusing on the Ring's red-headed babe. See how Newswatch hypocritically ignores Fox News' role. Some will point out they focus on the New York Post, which is owned by their very own Rupert Murdoch. Proof they aren't biased? The irony here is I earlier blogged on Fox News linking to this very article on their website. No mention of that either.
Redhead was the headline in the New York Post, spotlighting flame-haired Anna Chapman, one of those arrested in this spy ring. We're kind of chuckling about it, Ellis. It, I guess, could be serious, but here's one of the best headlines that we saw this week.
Lay it on.
Mediaite.com wrote, "Sexy Russian spy captures media attention because sexy Russian spies capture media's attention."
I have to admit, John, that's a story I would read.
But are the media taking this seriously?
Look, no, they're making fun of it because it's infinitely mockable. But there is a serious issue here that the media are simply not dealing with.
The president seemed to try to minimize it. You know, he had President Medvedev for burgers at his favorite burger joint there in Alexandria, and then comes this Russian spy bust. The White House seemed to want to throw a wet blanket on it, and I guess did the media concur?
Right. Well, President Obama, of course, has staked his presidency on future international brotherhood, international disarmament, everybody getting along, rule of international law. And so the fact that Russians are acting like the Soviets, as Judy said, is completely just doesn't fit into the happy universal federalism Obama narrative. So he just ignores it, which I suspect will have implications for the way that the Justice Department pursues this case down the road, as in not pursuing it very hard, not putting Russian diplomats under oath and so on to investigate, because they don't want to discover that America has genuine enemies in Russia. And I would also say, by the way, down the road somewhere,
China.
China.
A foreign affairs expert, a Russian security expert, come on Fox News this week and say that there are the same number of spies now in the United States from Russia as there was during the Cold War. And other countries, too, it begs the question, how many other countries have spies in this country right now spying on us? And I see very little coverage of that, too.
All countries is the answer.
All countries
is
May
the
we
answer.
always have such incompetent spies, people using invisible ink and Morse code.
So the question is then, Judith, why didn't they leave them there? I mean, I wonder why they wouldn't just let them go and we could spy on them.
Terrible. The media stories are wonderful about this. The terrible troubles they had with them, the constant requests for money, the fact that they couldn't get their expensive technology to work. I mean, it just doesn't get better than this as a story.
But you have covered serious spy stories in the Middle East and so forth. I mean, it can be a very deadly business.
Yes, it can be very deadly, and the Russians kill. They've killed all over Europe. They killed in London. So, you know, I do think that obviously this was very embarrassing for the president. And only one newspaper, the New York Times, pointed out that Obama was unhappy with this story, not with the fact that the Russians were still doing this, but with the timing of the announcement so close to the cheeseburger summit. I found that very bizarre.
Yeah, is there a portion of this, you know, this scandal, I guess, spy scandal, that the press has missed?
Well, I mean, I guess it would have been nice if we'd found out about it 5 years ago, or however long it's been going on, but listen, can we be grown-ups for 1 second?
Okay.
All countries do this against all other countries, and it will ever be thus.
I'm not sure there are too many American couples who have settled in Moscow trying to build themselves a new life.
I hope there
We've
are.
got a few over there spying, though,
Yes.
like that. I think we have a few.
Anna Chapman, is there a movie deal in this for her?
Oh, probably.
Maybe a
I mean,
Playboy deal.
she is one of many that they've brought in, and yet she's the only one that they seem to be focusing on. And every picture of her, she seems to be wearing something skin tight. She's scantily clad. I mean, they've sensationalized this and made it into one giant joke. It's like the Bourne Identity. It's the Keystone Cops of spies.
Yeah, I know Jim is shocked at that part of the story.
Again, one reason the media kind of like the story because the stakes appear to be so low, and I think they're being fooled, though, into thinking this is just about people who should have been Googling as opposed to trying to seduce Democratic contributors.
A little media rope-a-dope, maybe. We'll see.